Hey, what's up, guys? Danny Explosion back here today, and this will be part 5 of the Dying Fetus discography review. The next album we are going to review today is Dying Fetus's War of Attrition. This album has been credited to be Dying Fetus's most lyrically political album, because it deals with a lot of reality TV, the war that was going on in Iraq at the time, flaws in the government and the justice system and all that kind of stuff. And surprisingly enough, John Gallagher didn't write all the lyrics. Mike Kimball did, who was one of the other guitarists in Dying Fetus. Vince Matthews left, and so did Trey Williams, but eventually Trey Williams came back, and the new drummer for this album was Dwayne Timlin, who did drums on this. But yeah, it's a little information on the album. It was their third album on Relapse Records, so let's get into it. This is one of those albums that kind of, when you listen to it first, you're just like, yeah, it's pretty good. But then when you listen to it more, it just grows and grows on you. And that was one of those albums. Why a lot of Dying Fetus fans love this album, is because this album kind of starts to return to Dying Fetus's old ways back in the 90s. And like the purification through violence, killing on adrenaline, and destroy the opposition era. And this is the album where the kind of music of Dying Fetus kind of heads back to. So, yeah, I mean, this was actually the first album Sean Beasley, the current bassist of Dying Fetus, actually did vocals on. And I wasn't a huge fan of Vince Matthews' vocals on Stop at Nothing, but whenever Trey Williams does vocals on this album and all the other albums after War of Attrition, they just remind me so much of Jason Netherton's vocals in Purification Through Violence and Killing on Adrenaline. That's why I love Sean Beasley's vocals, because it kind of still brings that old school Dying Fetus vibe to it. But in this album too, they start to blend. They're still experimenting on brutality and technicality, and this album is more brutal. Like, this is like one of the most brutal releases. It's still a technical album, but it's more considered one of their brutal albums. But yeah, I mean, this was all in all a great, fantastic album. I mean, this album was great. The drum work from Dwayne Timlin was just incredible. Bass was killer. I mean, Sean Beasley is like, this is my opinion, but I think he's one of the greatest death metal bassists ever. I mean, because he does a great job on bass in this album. John Gallagher's vocals, just guttural and, very guttural vocals that we all love from him. And both John Gallagher and Mike Kimball's guitar work are just fucking fantastic on this album. I mean, some songs I really liked. Well, let's put it this way. All tracks on this album stuck out to me, but the ones that stuck out to me the most was like Homicidal Retribution, Raping the System. What else? Fate of the Condemned. Well, just all the tracks stuck out to me, because this was actually an excellent, excellent album. And I can see why a lot of the old school Dying Fetus fans really like this album, because this was still a very, very well done album. It was a great album. So I'd probably give this album a probably an 85 out of 100. Yeah, like an 87 out of 100, because it was still a fantastic album. I love this album, really good. But yeah, that was my review of War of Attrition by Dying Fetus. Expect the next review of Dying Fetus's Descent into Depravity very soon. I'll try to make it tomorrow. So yeah, guys, that was my review. After Descent into Depravity, the next after that will be Dying Fetus, and that'll sadly be the end of the series. So yeah, excuse me. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want, and as always, keep it brutal and keep it metal.